Hello and welcome to my long-awaited HHN review. This year was one of the strongest lineups yet, and I'm taking you through my full review of the event, guys. The houses, the scare zones, the food, and all the scares. From the moment you arrived at the gates, the energy was electric. The fog was rolling in and non-stop. Atmosphere was all over the place. It gave you chills even before you stepped right into those beautiful gates. Coming up first will be the front scare zones and the atmosphere. Starting with the front scare zones, these areas immediately set the mood. Smoke flickering, lurking monsters made the first steps into the park feel intense. This year's attention to detail within the scare zones really stood out. The lighting, the fog, the sound design were all perfect. It built suspense, and it was scary. Walking through the front entrance, you could feel that energy from the crowd, but also the tension that every HHN fan loves. Now we're going to go through the house walk-throughs and reviews. Jason Universe was incredible from start to finish. Its sets were beautiful and massive. Jason popped up everywhere. It was pure adrenaline, and easily this ranked as one among the scariest of the year. Next up was Terrifier. It was shocking. It was gruesome. Next up was Artista. Ooh, my brain. Let's retry that again, guys. Artista. This house surprised me with its artistic and haunted design. It was like walking through cursed art, and the lighting, the textures, and the story elements were awesome. This one also had a cool scare actor that flew above you. Five Nights at Freddy's. This house delivered nostalgia with the perfect jump scares. The animatronics were incredible, and the tension never let up. Dolls Let's Play Dead brought to life a twisted playtime nightmare. Oversized toys, creepy actors made this one of the most creative houses of the year. Number 6 is Hatchet and Chains. Hatchet and Chains transported us to the Wild Wild West ghost town. Dusty saloons, spectral outlaws, eerie props made it cinematic and a thrilling experience. Gálkn Monsters of the North focused on Norse mythology with epic monster design. Snow effects, ice, looming creatures gave this house a chilling horror fantasy vibe. Grave of Flesh delivered body horror in full force. Moving walls, grotesque details, claustrophobic tunnels, making it one of the most intense houses. It also used it also used smell. Wyatt 6 was great. It was psychological with a horror twist. Fallout was post-apocalyptic fun, mutants, dark humor, and Easter eggs that made it less scary, but ultimately entertaining. And the next part of the event is food and beverages. Of course, it isn't just about the scares, but we tried some incredible food while we were there, such as the African lentil coffins, the bloody camp s'mores, light the way cocktails. With every bite and sip, this added to the experience. The presentation, the taste, the creativity were all on top notch and were really fun between the scares. Now we're going to go through the scare zones. Next, we have the Toxic 20s. The Toxic 20s takes a twist on the Roaring 20s, but picture a neighborhood that's gone horribly wrong after toxic spills, with mobsters and speakeasy patrons transformed into grotesque... Ooh, let's try this again, guys. Transformed into grotesque mutants. The streets are gritty, vintage cars added to authenticity, and performers were bringing horrifying energy that really immerses you into a post-apocalyptic retro 20s world. Masquerade Dance with Death. You're invited to an opulent masquerade ball. With an elegant facade, behind every mask lurks vampires, ready to feast on you. The dramatic lighting, the elaborate costumes, the haunting soundtrack just made you feel like you stepped into a nightmarish version of a gothic party gone wrong. Every corner had surprises, and the tension was palpable that you could cut it with a knife. origin. Blah. Let's try this again, guys. The origin of horror was one of the most reflective scare zones of the year. It's a tribute to the horror icons of HHN. It included statues and monuments to celebrate the most frightening, iconic IP frights of the year. It had massive crows, garden paths with creepy and scary statues. It gave a sense of history while also warning you that the horrors of tonight are just getting started. My favorite scare zone, of course, of the whole year would definitely be Cat Lady of Crooked Lane. You step right on into this beautiful thing. It's the first thing you notice is the eerie atmosphere. Guests are drawn down a winding path to the lair, actually a house, of a mysterious woman who turns unexpected child visitors into feline companions. You get hybrid cats and hybrid child scary, creepy cat things. It's very awesome, very beautiful. And we finally get the return of the pumpkins to this area of the park, which just make it the ultimate feeling of Halloween. Now you also get some scary areas. They're scary experiences. They're not scare zones. They're lightly themed, but they're fun. So you get Mel's Dine-In Zombies, which is a classic diner, but it's overrun by the undead. Zombie car hops actually skate around on actual skates. If you remember, people like Sonic, they used to do that at Sonic in some diners. So they'd skate up to your car. They had vintage cars, of course. And it's a surreal mix of Americana and apocalypse. Whether you're familiar with zombies and Americana, it still was so much fun. Now, finally, the last area would be Club Horror. It takes you into a nightclub that has gone terribly wrong with some spooky dancers and pulsing music, strobe lights, and undead partygoers. Creates chaos and a disorienting environment. It's high energy and a little bit scary, but it's just ultimately a fun area to have fun, drink, and dance and party the night away if you chose to. So thank you again for stopping by on my review of HHN. It was honestly one of the best years I've ever had, and it was so much fun, and it really solidifies why I love the event the way I do so much. And I'm such a fan. I've been following HHN since, forever. It feels like I was a kid, I think. I've been following it. And so I love to go to haunts throughout our area where we live, but it's always fun to hop on down to Orlando to do it. Every night was memorable. Every scare was memorable. Every house was memorable. And it just left you on edge in the best way possible. If you're a horror fan, this is a must-see event. So I would definitely give it a 10 out of 10. I mean, there's no notes. There's nothing they could have done to make it better. Whereas like last year, if I were to review last year's HHN, which was my first year, I would probably give it something like an 8.5-ish, maybe between 7.5 and 8.5. They really had some duds last year that were boring. And this year, there was nothing of that. None of the houses felt boring. I mean, even with Fallout being last, it was just a hard concept to bring into fruition to the event. But it didn't mean it was a bad house. Like, they're all gorgeous. They all have Universal's care and thought planned into them. But sometimes you can hit, a strike out in some ways, and that just happened. But it didn't this year. And if this is what HHN is going to be like for the next coming years, come on, guys. I'm excited. A lot of fans have said that HHN feels like it's kind of like back in form again. It's back to being who it is, back to what it was like. And I really do hope that we see HHN in the future like this. Because you have Epic Universe down the road, and Epic Universe has some amazing immersive theming. So I think what they picked up from Epic Universe, they brought into HHN. And I hope you guys just like my footage. and I really enjoy going, and I hope that I can go every year. But if not, if I have to take a hiatus for a few years, honestly, this year was a great year to end it on. So thank you again, and please like, subscribe, do all the things, and please comment what was your favorite HHN year and or favorite house for this year, favorite scare zone. Really just go off in the comments about what you'd like or what you'd like to see, in HHN in the future. Are there any houses or IPs that you want them to really do? I'd really like to do Scream or something of that nature. Just put it in the comments. Thank you again, and stay spooky. Universal Orlando was one of the strongest lineups they've ever had. 10 houses, which each bring something unique to the fog. And let's jump into my rankings, thoughts on all the haunted houses. Sorry if I sound a little weird, I have a cold. Number 1 and number 2 are kind of the same. So there are 10 houses, but I'm going to give the number 1 and number 2 spot are same in weight. So number 1 is going to be Jason Universe. Starting off strong with Jason Universe, this is absolutely one of the best houses ever that they've done. It nails the camp classic slasher feel. Camp Crystal Lake sets were gorgeous, the kills were brutal, and Jason himself literally popped out 1 million times. It was a pure adrenaline rush and easily one of the scariest houses of the year. I literally came out of this house like breathing heavy, like because it was so startling. Next up, it's Terrifier, and like I said, their 1 and 2 are the same to me. This house was definitely not for the faint of heart. Art the Clown is every bit as disturbing as you expect. The gore, the tension, the sheer chaos makes this one of the most intense houses HHN has ever done. It's gross, it's gory, it's squishy, it's wet, and totally unforgettable. El Artista is the next house. That's number 3. The atmosphere and lighting and design are the most stunning that I've ever walked through. It is like walking straight through a nightmare. The story has a haunted artist that gives a creative twist that sets it apart from the blood-soaked chaos of the other houses. Five Nights at Freddy's is next up, and it is pure nostalgia with jump scare perfection. The animatronics look incredible, and the tension of walking through the pizzeria feels straight out of the game. It is fan service done to the perfection. Doll's Dead is the next house, and it's creepy and colorful and downright unsettling. The doll actors are perfect. The oversized sets make you feel like you're shrunken into the child's nightmare. Definitely one of the most creative original houses of the year. Hatchet in Chains was a standout. Its Wild West theme was a fresh twist on dusty ghost towns and eerie saloons and haunted outlaws with saws and blades and chains, of course. It's gritty, it was loud, cinematic in all the right ways. Gálkn is a hauntingly beautiful house with snow effects, Norse monsters, and some of the best creature design of the year. It's less scary, but more epic, and feels like a horror fantasy movie brought to life. Grave of Flesh brings back the classic Universal house that is underground. It has twisted corpse, staying tunnels, moving walls, and it made it for one of the most claustrophobic houses of the year. It was amazing. Wyatt 6 felt like walking through a fever dream. It had eerie sound design, glowing lanterns, psychological storytelling. It's mysterious and strange, and totally fits the HHN vibe. And this one really did surprise me because I'm not a big WWE fan, and it was really scary. It was great. And finally, the last one was Fallout. A mix of humor, post-apocalyptic scares, and clever Easter eggs for fans. It's not the scariest, but it was kind of one of the most fun to walk through. Overall, HHN 25 delivered a killer lineup that proves why this event remains one of the best Halloween experiences on the earth.